you can show the way. It doesn't matter whether people follow you or not. Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Sunchild Tarot. Now, for the first time ever, I have been inspired to do a communal reading. So far, I've always... The idea of zodiac readings initially, even though I'd been reading the cards some 29 years at this point, seemed a little weird for me, reading for an energy rather than a person, because I've always been used to reading for a person. But once I got the hang of it, well, you've seen my channel, you've seen the results. However, I still liked the idea of some form of target for the reading. The thought that there is some specified querent. Now, finally, yesterday, as I was walking home from work, in fact, I was inspired to do a communal reading. So I suppose the querent in this case is, to sound really highfalutin, humanity, or just whoever comes to it. This is for whoever comes for it, for those who have ears, which I might call it that, yeah. So with everything that's going on in the world at the moment, with the fact that we are coming up to the spring equinox, with the fact that Saturn's about to move into Aquarius, with the fact that at the moment, this coming weekend, we have a dark moon in Pisces, so lots of mystery, lots of delving, lots of I don't know what the answer is. That's fine. Not knowing the answer is better than thinking you do and getting it wrong. And that's already coming out in this reading that I've laid the cards for. So, general reading rules apply. I assume, I don't know. I've not done this before. I was inspired to lay the cards in a very specific way. Let me just bring the cards up so I can show you if I press the right button rather than turn the camera off. I was inspired to put my zodiac cards all around the edge. I'm doing a Celtic cross. I am using the Syrian Starseed Tarot, which it's my birthday today, and this was one of my birthday presents. And I am also using, and I've buried it under the decks of cards, the Healing Light Tarot, which was another one of my birthday presents from a very good friend. So I'm really, really looking forward to using these cards. And if I've edited it correctly, you should probably see my shuffle video appearing already here. So I've gone for a Celtic cross. So like I say, normal reading rules apply. This is not my standard reading. There isn't so much of a past and a present, so I think it's more general than this. Let me bring those cards up again. So for the situation that we find ourselves in, if you like it, comment down below. Please press subscribe. I should have said that already. It's one of the YouTube rules, isn't it? With 3 seconds into the video, subscribe. But yes, I'm a young channel. Believe me, every subscription helps right now. So where we are at the moment is the Seeker of Orbs. Now this represents very much, it equates to the Page of Swords. But with this Starseed Tarot, it's quite a different thing. We are looking for answers. We are looking, wandering through the darkness and looking for answers. Wanting to find the ways to manifest, Queen of Wands, what is better for us. But notice at the base of this Queen of Wands, it almost looks like tidal waves. It's almost like there's an eruption of energy from her that is causing an immense amount of destruction. And the many-armed form could as equally be Kali as it could be Kuan Yin. So there is a looking for answers in the midst of the destruction that is around us. Now, let's face it, that makes sense at the minute, eh? What is crossing us? The Adept of Orbs. Somebody who believes that they have the answers. and they don't necessarily need to look any further. Because they have all the answers, they've got the rules that they can set into place, and they are acting to protect everything. So even as light workers, spiritual journeyers, whatever, I'm quite sure if you are watching these readings, you are familiar with a lot of the more new agey terminology, and I'm going to use it with wild abandon here. As light workers, we are well aware of how we are trying to understand things, and we can very easily disappear up our own backsides with the powers of our own philosophy and not be open to new ideas. But also there is a lot of fear at the moment and a lot of restriction, where as much as we're trying to manifest, we are maybe setting boundaries and rules on how we are manifesting. And we are obviously trying to protect and look after what is ours. I do feel that trying to protect... Now, I'm not talking about washing your hands in the face of the coronavirus. Of course, wash your hands in the face of the coronavirus. But there may be certain things that we may have an urge to protect that we don't necessarily need to. And by releasing them out of our way, we open up a lot more opportunities to us. Because what Spirit is bringing in is the opportunity to lose things. There's cheerful, eh? But by the opportunity of losing things, I hadn't even really paid attention to these cards, but it echoes what I was just saying. Options open up to us, and there is a sense of material rebirth that is available if we listen to the wisdom that our own still silent voices that are telling us. But more than the still silent voice, the bird may be a symbol of spiritual wisdom, but it's also a real physical thing. So the information can come to you from all sorts of angles, which makes you suddenly go, okay, yeah, I get that. I see that. I can move forward with this. Because one thing we are doing is moving forward. Whether we are moving forward with magic or whether we are moving forward with illusion. Both aspects contained within the moon card here. And also what I'm really brought to is, I've never really paid attention to this before, but with all the Roman numerals, the moon can be death, 13, plus the number 5, challenge, or in terms of the major arcana, the Hierophant. Be careful about what rules that you accept, and keep questioning those rules. Keep questioning them. I'm not saying disobey those rules or change those rules, but what is a rule for one day, is it still fit for purpose the next day? Because the world has changed. The world has gone through quite an upheaval, and the balance that we were carrying beforehand is not necessarily the balance that we need to carry into the future. Yes, we are all being forced into isolation for a while, but this is to open a window for new voices to come in. It is a time of healing and of rest and of meditation. It is also a time for allowing these swords to descend from the heavens and turn into the Four of Wands, to turn into a stable base, a commitment. That is why you have that urge to protect things in the first place. Allow those pentacles to fall away, let the 4 swords descend and become the Four of Wands, become the... I'll have to remember that when I'm using other decks, but become the Four of Wands, become a commitment to joy, a commitment to surging ahead with a lightness in your heart, wants the influence of... I mean, I've looked on this deck of cards before. That could be a stained glass window. It could be four figures morphing in from a higher dimension. It could be all sorts of things. I really love this image because it is so very open. But I do get that sense of the four elements coming into being for you once you allow these four swords of wisdom. So not swords of conflict or swords of aggression or nightmare, but of wisdom to come down to pierce the physical reality and bring life back to those who have been kept into the crypt, which makes a whole new beginning in the physical world as well as the higher realms. As above, so below. There is an above. It's time we started mirroring it, and that's what the moon card is there for, to help us to mirror it. And there's 5, the Hierophant. So there we have the rules and the faith that you are sticking with, that there are keys that you can show the way. It doesn't matter whether people follow you or not. It really, really doesn't matter whether people follow you or people attack you. We are in this time of respite at the moment anyway, in this time of self-isolation. But you are going to whole new... Ooh, I hadn't seen that before. Star of Metatron there. You're going to a whole new level. Now, if you're interested in your spirituality and wanting to pursue your spirituality, being forced to stay at home and not mix with people allows you to focus inward for some time. So take advantage, because this current situation, it ain't going to last forever. So please take advantage while it's here. This is what you could say one of the purposes of this whole virus could be. I'm not going to say I know what the purposes of the virus is, and I've heard lots of readers on YouTube say all sorts of things. And I think I went on a rant on my Capricorn reading for March. It doesn't matter whether it was created in a lab or not. It's here now. That's the end of the story. Really, that's the end of the story. You just simply need to take those precautions to look after yourself. But it's not just... Taking those precautions can be used as a springboard for your own advancement and for your focus for the next however many years. This is a critical time with that stellium of planets in Capricorn, and as Saturn is moving into Aquarius and back again, and the other planets are moving through, and Mars is having its effect on the planets in Capricorn at the moment. Decisions and changes that you make now will have lasting effect. So take advantage. In fact, that might be what I call the reading as well. Take advantage. Because yes, there's a burden that you need to take on board, but there's always burdens that you need to take on board. And this burden is bringing around a sense of completion. The information is being given to you, and you are being linked. Oh, okay. You are being linked to others even in your isolation. Let's face it, we're in a world of electronic goodies. We can talk to anybody that we want. I've been talking to friends of mine this morning to see how they are halfway around the planet. You know, so my social circle is hardly limited to the town where I live. The town where I live just happens to be where I be, although I'm fortunate enough to have some very good friends here as well. But I have a lot of very good friends all over the place. So, but you can use that to shine like a star, to have the transmutation, to be ready to travel on the star chariot, to have your heart weighed against a feather. Ooh. Actually, that sounds a bit like death is coming, and that's not the way I mean it. Weighing your heart against the feather, yes, it is part of the Egyptian afterlife, but it is also, it's a transcendental experience. You don't have to be dead to enjoy that, to experience that. But our destiny here is to shine like stars for those around us, but more importantly for ourselves, because there is no difference. If you are in a universe that you are creating because you are that little bit of God, and you are in a universe that is shared by other people co-creating with you, remember, they are creating you and you are creating them, and that's a mutual process because we are all little bits of God. Because if God is everything, we can't be anything else. This is the greatest hope, is that you are coming into your realization of your power and your role in civilization, in society. And we have the Page of Swords here once more. Strong, confident, but not with all of the answers. But with butterflies around, although I'm so tempted to say Mothra, but with butterflies around, showing that there is always more. There is always more. If God is infinite, the layers of between us and God, or the Godhead, or what have you, is infinite. There is what I love is the Gnostic imagery of you meet the angels, you meet God, and they recognize themselves in you, and you recognize yourself in them. That heals the rift between, say, the Buddhist idea, if I've got my Buddhism correct, please correct me if I'm wrong, of returning to the Godhead, with the philosophy of the black magicians of, no, I am God. And I am saying, yes, I am God. And so are you. But I want to return to the Godhead, but I'm not losing me in the process, because there was a reason I decided to be me. And that is the gift that I am taking back to God. And any gift that is worth it, you never give away, you share. Because you haven't lost it by giving it to somebody else, like love. You do not lose love by giving it to somebody. You still have that love, but somebody else now has it as well. It's sharing. As my housemate may say in a completely different context, sharing is caring. And so the final outcome of this card, the path of opportunity that we are given here, I could actually call this reading coronavirus guidance, couldn't I? That is very pretentious of me. Is a wonderful union. Now, the lovers can be the sacred marriage between the masculine and the feminine. Now, Queen Cup, I think is her name, says that we are not just the masculine and the feminine, that we are a fivefold being, which makes sense to me. The Emerald Tablets of Thoth said that 5 is the number of man, and we know that 5 is the number of challenge within the tarot, and let's face it, we are very challenging. But you have the masculine, the feminine, the inner child, the inner shadow, and the inner angel. A fivefold being, but we are becoming stars. Now, you listen to any of the New Age channelers of the 90s or early 2000s, they are all saying the same thing. We are stars, and we need to take our place among the stars, among all the very many beings that are around us. Now, I am going to do a very quick whiz round the zodiac and draw one card for each sign. So, bear in mind, you want to listen to your sun, your moon, your rising, and with my normal blurb, hey, there's a link in the description below if you want to get a free birth chart if you don't know what your moon or your rising or your Venus or your... Let's have a look, I would say. Moon and rising, obviously, as well as your sun sign. North Node. your destiny, who you are, where you are heading for. So that's ready. So Aries, you're getting the Empress. Aries, it's time for you to start receiving and producing a harvest. Aries, it is your job. Your astrology this year has been all about work. So get to it. Taurus, Queen of Swords. There's some clarity that you need to find out, and there's certain things that you maybe need to cut out of issues. So I can't remember what your astrology for the year is, but come into your authority using the weapon of truth. Do not just cut things out for the sake of it. Look for the truth in all things. Gemini, you have the King of Wands, so you can use your twins to actually bring things into manifestation. I think, Gemini, you may have the gift of giving a lot of get up and go energy, not just to yourself, but to others, certainly in the context of this reading. So Cancer, Queen of Cups, time for you to bring your dreams into reality. Time for you to explore your dreams and go, I like this one. This is how I'm going to move forward. Leo, we have the Seven of Swords. Ooh. But no, I really like this because in this particular, this is the Mystic, what do you call it? Mystic Mondays Tarot, or wherever I put the box. Yeah, Mystic Mondays Tarot. What I feel is your expertise will be on resources. There's certain things that you need to keep hidden, and there's certain things that you can put away for good and abandon, but you can, when you find something that is stable, you have something to add to it. You have something to bring to it, because you are being pulled along by the moon. You are being pulled along by a crescent moon where you can actually see the full sphere of it at the same time. There is a duality there. You have something to add to something that is already growing and already stable. So, Virgo, Princess of Cups. Okay, Virgo, you seem to be needing to listen to your dreams some more. There's more information coming your way. So, obviously in the space of this reading, and bear in mind, remember that you're looking through this through the lens of moon or rising or Venus or North Node, but there is an element of managing to look at your dreams and magic something into being. You are going to be creating something from nothing, whatever that means for you. So, Libra, you have the world. That's interesting. You have the world. That's lovely. Libra, it's almost like there's work that you have done that you now need to expand out already. You've already done the work. Be that nuclear atom that gives the superheroes their powers. Scorpio, you are transporting dreams. You are transforming yourself. In your monthlies, I think the last two monthlies, I have said you are the sign about transformation, so transform already. Now is the time for you to go, hey, here's a dream. Try this one on for size. So you are sending messages out to people. Sagittarius, Five of Pentacles, you are seeing where potential pitfalls in the real world are. You are the ones to keep your eyes open and problem solve for where problems are that you can face, whether that means in your family or in your community. And bear in mind, or whether it means in all the hocus pocusy stuff that I've been talking about in this reading. You will see the problems, you will see the lacks, and it is for you to bring that fivefold nature into finding ways to plug up the holes. Capricorn, and you're the source of all the issues at the minute. Don't forget this, Capricorn. Don't take me seriously there. But Capricorn, you are setting plans that will last. And you as Capricorn are opening the way, opening the road for the others that are around you. So you can use all these planets in your sign to surge forward and go forward first. Now, Capricorn is all about structure. It's not, let's face it, you'd more than likely see an Aries or a Taurus surging ahead than you would for Capricorn, who might be a little bit more measured. Nah, your turn. And I mean that nicely because I think you're going to do a good job of it. You've got a lot of power behind you at the moment. Aquarius, 2 of Cups, eh? So, Aquarius, you're going to disappear off and fall in love. No, seriously, Aquarius, you are bringing that new age in. Whether that new age is starting now with Saturn first dipping its toes into Aquarius, or as some other astrologers will say, starting in about 600 years' time. Aquarius, you are about the new, you are about the evolution, you are about wavelength and frequency. What is your symbol? You know, so broadcast that sense of unity, that sense of harmony, that sense of, you know, this thing and this thing that up until now never went together, now they go together. This is how we use them in conjunction to one another. And Pisces, so this is what I've got. King of Pentacles, oh my word, I've got to be practical. I'm a Pisces, I'm not good at practical. But no, the King of Pentacles is all that. So, bear in mind that you are at the end of the zodiac, Pisces. You have been all that. So it is for you to bring that into being as well, and to be practical. Ground all your higher knowledges, all your, I'm a star, I'm 2 fishes swimming in opposite directions and constantly circling one another. Bring that into the real world. Bring that into into the problem solving, into the healing, into the, you can use the skills that you've gained through being all the other signs. Where, who was it who was problem solving? Sagittarius, wasn't it? Sagittarius can highlight where there is a deficit and there's a problem there. And you can go, and I know just the energy to solve that because I've seen it before. A few thousand years ago, but I've seen it before. Now, I'm going to pull a couple of oracle cards. I don't know which ones yet. I do want to see Gods and Titans deck. And let's bring that camera back into focus. There we go. The Gods and Titans deck. One thing I want to ask is, out of the various gods, who is supporting our progress at the moment? You may see my full moon gods at play readings when I do them, which I didn't this month, I'm sorry. But I look at the opposing forces and the opposing gods and goddesses, or the energies that they represent. So, who is guiding our okay. This is really interesting. Typhon with anger and rage, and Ra with power. So this is supposedly, 2020 is a lot like 2012 in the terms of astrology in various ways. It's also a lot like 9/11. That there's been various parts. There's a lot in 2020 that is harkening back to the old times. And Typhon was one of the... Now, he was a child of one of the Titans, much like the Olympians were, if I remember correctly. But that old rage of being kept in the darkness, being locked in Tartarus, that is coming to the surface. But with the light of Ra guiding it, there is a power behind it. Again, with that stellium of planets in Capricorn, there is a power behind it. But I don't think that this particular anger or rage is a bad thing. I don't think it's that particularly lower vibration. It's not the anger or rage of a spoilt brat kicking off because they're not getting their own way. It's the anger and rage of, how did we end up here? We are little pieces of God. How did we end up believing we were so limited? And this final card that wants to come out is Achilles, a man, not a god, with confidence. That's what we need right now. Confidence. See you later.